Here's a really fun and interesting way I learned about a unique selling proposition, USP. Well, one of the things I found was my best sellers, my Kit Kats, my Snickers, my Reese's Cups. Those things started melting around the time lunchtime came around, which is usually around 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I came up with the idea, well, let me just put this stuff in a little cooler. And that's exactly what I did. I started putting my chocolate in this cooler so that it would be pristine at lunch. Here's where that paid off. Whereas other people were selling candy in the same school for 50 cents, I was able to sell things for 75 cents and a dollar.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So, Antonio, the next question is why you decide to become an entrepreneur. What the story? Do you have any family member that is an entrepreneur? Any inspiration you got from anybody, or kind of by accident?
I will say it was by accident because I think I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I sold candy in not high school but middle school at the time, and you know there was a very wonderful experience. I learned a lot about commerce. I learned about unique selling proposition without knowing what those things were.
By try
Learned
and
about
error.
profit.
By try and error.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So, how was the
And
candy business? How much you buying them, and how much you were selling them for?
well, and see, that was the thing. I found myself, buying things at a convenience store, and then people would say, "Hey, can I have some of your Snickers bar? Can I have some of your so and so?" And over time, I'm like, "You need to get your own." So maybe I just decided one day to buy two. So someone said, "Well, hey, I'll sell it to you." So here I am selling, buying this thing for 35, 40 cents, and then selling it for 50 cents. And I was like, oh, well, that was pretty cool. So maybe I'll buy three or four the next day. So now I've got a few people buying and I'm only making a few cents. Well, I didn't know about profit loss. I didn't know that the markup that goes along with a convenience store. So I said, well, where can I get this candy for cheaper? And at the time, there's a grocery store here called Kroger. Across the country, they call Ralph's or Smith's. They're owned by the one company, Kroger. I found that Kroger sold the same candies for about 15 cents cheaper than the convenience stores.
Wow.
So now I'm able to go and buy things at 20
And
cents and
how they
sell
let
them
you
at
in that shop? Do you need a special license, or how
well,
you, or you need
here's
to
the
involve your
interesting thing.
parents into the business?
Well, here and this is why I go back to this is a process that I learned over time. So I was saving money by buying things at Kroger versus buying at the convenience store and then selling it. Then over time, I someone told me about buying this stuff wholesale. I didn't know what wholesale meant at 14, 15 years old,
Who's gonna
right?
know?
So exactly. But there were places where you can buy big boxes of things at a time. And that's what I learned what wholesale was. So that was one of the things that got me familiar with buy for as little as possible and sell for what the market will stand. So again,
And
I'm
finding
still a
your
teenager at
audience.
this
Your step one that you said, find something to sell and find your
find your
audience,
audience.
right?
Exactly. And then what's the thing that you're selling, right? There is that. Here's a really fun and interesting way I learned about a unique selling proposition, USP. Well, one of the things I found was my best sellers, my Kit Kats, my Snickers, my Reese's Cups. Those things started melting around the time lunchtime came around, which is usually around 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I came up with the idea, well, let me just put this stuff in a little cooler. And that's exactly what I did. I started putting my chocolate in this cooler so that it would be pristine at lunch. Here's where that paid off. Whereas other people were selling candy in the same school for 50 cents, I was able to sell things for 75 cents and a dollar because
Because your
I
one was
had
cold and nice.
exactly. Because who wants to eat melted chocolate where it's dripping all over you, your hands are sticky, etc. So my chocolate was cool by the time lunchtime came around. And that's where people wanted those things, is because they were hungry. So I was able to
And
sell
you
my
increase
candy
the
for
price.
more. Absolutely. Now,
High
here's the
perceived
thing.
value at the low cost.
Yes, exactly. Now, here's,
Probably
I
the
don't
cooler
claim to
you
be
took
a
it from home.
genius.
Probably you didn't buy the cooler. Maybe the cooler was at home and you took it.
Absolutely. So, and I say all that because I don't claim to be this genius, prodigy. I learned these things by accident. But what it did do is that it gave me a real sense of understanding what it's like to create my own money. I think my highest month was $1,400. So you imagine as a early on teenager
Wow.
making $1,400.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
So
huge. Selling candies.
exactly. And that's what got me that
Impressive.
entrepreneurial taste. So over the years, I tried a lot of different things. I got to tell you, I've sold cabins. I've sold vacuum cleaners door to door. I was a DJ. So I've done a lot of different things as an entrepreneur, and I just kind of found that this is the space that I operate in. I've only had 3 jobs my entire life, and I got fired from all 3 of them. So I knew I'd have to get good at business because I didn't have any other options.
I bet you get fired because you always was looking a better way of doing it. That's what my
Yes,
short life as an
that's exactly
employee 20
right.
years ago, my job, it was room service in the Hilton in Canary Wharf in London. And I also was working in the pub. I remember that I was always telling them, guys, this is a way that we can do this better. We can
Right,
do this better like this. And
right.
the supervisor didn't like me, the manager didn't like me.
No, no, we don't want that.
Everywhere that I went, they would tell me, Harry, this is the rule you need to follow. No, we don't need to do it better way. Please, I'm begging you, do it the way it's supposed to
Right.
do, and don't give us headache. We are busy. I'm like, man. So yeah, we're difficult when it comes to perform at the job. But
Right.
Antonio, but that experience, for example, out of the 500 millionaires we interview, when we ask this same question, most of they, even myself, we all become entrepreneur by accident, right? We start to solve the problem for ourselves, then we solve for other people, and then we build the business. And
Right.
sometimes when I started, I didn't even know what marketing was. How I gonna know, right? I was have a property business. I was renting the house and renting the units individually, one by one. So I was putting the ad in Gumtree, which is a website that sits in the day, showing the room, and then I knew how much I'm renting the house. I knew how much I'm renting the rooms individually, and I'm making some profit. And then again, we discovered that we paint the rooms and we put a nice bed sheet from IKEA and painting from IKEA, we can charge more for the room. And
Right.
it was
Right.
a high perceived value of the local. That was my cooler, right? Our cooler
Right.
was something,
Exactly.
just going to IKEA and doing a little bit nicer and clean. People, they were way more happy to pay more and also bring you better people to the house because the
Right.
clients that you're attracting, they want to keep the house clean, the nice things. So we create the whole, where if you rent the room cheap and then you don't care, then the clients don't care. Nobody cares. The house is dirty, more problems, more tears, and you make less money, right? Because they pay less.
Right.
Whether adding value to the product, we could charge more than they were happy. So we give something decent to people, and the market respond, right? That's the other thing that I learned, and this is something very similar with your candy business, right? Not because they are vulnerable, that doesn't mean that they cannot pay more, right? In the rooms that I was offering to the students there in London, right, there was something decent, right? And this is a population that they are vulnerable. A lot of people take advantage of them. They take the deposit, they don't rent the room, they give them a place dirty, and because there's a vulnerable population that are students, they don't have a job, they're from abroad, people take advantage of them, whether we were offering something decent, right? Slightly more expensive, so they can afford slightly more
Right.
expensive, no abusive, slightly more expensive, but something decent. where they have, not because they are vulnerable, not because they don't have a job. That doesn't mean that they need to live in a place that is dirty and
Exactly.
nobody cares, right? And we build a business out of this concept, and we have a lot of happy clients, hundreds and hundreds of happy clients for years, right? That actually
Mm.
come back and bring their friends, and they will go to Spain for 6 months, and when they're coming back, they will call me, Harry, I need a room. And I say, which one you want? And they were telling me, any, that's fine, whatever. Whatever, what do you have empty? I said, this one, this, okay, give me this one. They don't even looking at the room because they already know what to expect. They already know that when they land, they're going to land in a place that is clean, that they will take care of. And they didn't mind if they was a little bit far or closer, because they knew also that they can call me and keep them closer where they want when the other room gets empty. So we have a lot
Right.
of customer retention. So I think that, again, do good and making money is something that goes hand to hand.
Right.
And we always need to keep that in mind. So, Antonio, I love this, the profit engineer. I love it. So, Antonio,
Mhm.
someone is in love with this conversation, how people can find you, how this process work.
The best thing they could do is reach us at our website, and that's Aixios.ai, and that's AIXIOS.ai. Again, AIX. I'm sorry, geez, AIX. My brain completely went blank. It was wow. AIXIOS.ai. And what we'll do for your listeners, Harry, is that we'll put together a nice little AI starter kit for them. And I'll tell you
Thank you.
what we'll do is we'll put it at Axios.ai/Harry. We'll have that up for you guys by this evening. So we'll put together a nice little AI starter kit for those who are looking to implement AI and also implement AI responsibly as well. And we usually sell that starter kit for $497, but we'll
Wow.
offer that for free for your listeners.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That would be fantastic. Really appreciate it.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.